Hey guys, Magic Man here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a game in my Tier 8 Benson. Now, this is a Tier 10 game. I played this shortly after my previous video when I was in the Otago with Syndicated. This was a game that we played right afterwards, and it is a Tier 10 game. And unfortunately for me, this has kind of been the case every time I play a Tier 8 ship. I get thrown into a Tier 10 game. I think that probably has something to do with the economy changes that have happened over the past couple of patches, and the fact that they added in a camo that you can put on your tier 10 ship now that reduces the service cost by I think 20%, or maybe it increases the post battle earnings by 20%. I forget which. But not only that, there's also the campaigns now and missions. There just seems to be a lot more content, and there's a lot better chance that you're actually going to make money when you play your tier 10 now. So I actually attribute that to why I'm seeing so many tier 10s nowadays. Now, Syndicated wanted to go to the B cap and the C cap. I was kind of wanting to go with A and B, but we decided, since our team was sort of spawned in a location where we could get B and C, that that's where we should go. Now, I am in a tier 8 ship. I believe it was a Fletcher.
Good luck, everyone.
And Tashkent were the two enemy destroyers. I did not want to go into B. My experience on this map is typically, when I go into B, is that there's always an American destroyer, Garing or Fletcher there. In this case, there's already a destroyer in there. I assume it was Tashkent, and he's probably on the other side of the island because of how fast he got there, but I could be wrong. Now, at this point, I was feeling really bad about going through here because I have practically no support, but neither does whoever is in this cap. And sure enough, it was the Fletcher. As soon as I came around the corner of the island, there he was. I turned in, trying to avoid some shots. I unfortunately missed my first shot, and he lands Keppel. And it would appear that there is something, and judging from the rate of fire, it's probably the Des Moines on the enemy team. Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. I unfortunately take a hit. I duck behind this island. The Fletcher did smoke up. I'm going to take and shoot some torpedoes into that smoke. I am getting radared, so it definitely is probably a Des Moines. I don't think there's anything else that can have that rate of fire that can shoot HE other than a Des Moines, so I'm going to get out of this cap. And there's a Fletcher. He has already turned around and got all the way on the other side of that island. I am just going to not shoot and try and get out of the detection range of that Des Moines, and there we go. I guess the radar range is 9.5 kilometers, somewhere around in there. We drop off of detection. I'm no longer spotted, and now that I have some more of my teammates that are pushing up into the cap, I feel safe enough with the support to actually push into this cap. Now, I'm not going to do anything spectacular in this game. This game was just to kind of show what a division and teamwork can do, because we do end up kind of carrying this game. I myself don't do too much of the carrying. I'm sort of more like an area denial. I'm going to be smoking people up. I'm just going to be playing to win, not necessarily playing to do a ton of damage. Because as a destroyer, the longer you last in a match, the more valuable we're going to be. Now, unfortunately, our Montana basically just YOLO'd into the cap. Like, well, you only live once. Might as well just sail straight into the B cap and die. And that's exactly what he did. So we're already down a tier 10 battleship, which is not good.
Engine boost deactivated.
So that kind of sucks. Now, I'm going to launch some torpedoes at this girl first. These are the unupgraded torpedoes on the Benson. These are actually the torpedoes that are the upgraded set of torpedoes on the Mahan. So these torpedoes are only going to do 11,000 damage if it hits an area of the ship that does not have a torpedo belt. If the ship has a torpedo belt, it's going to do less damage than that. So those torpedoes are mainly more for the flooding and having to use damage control rather than for the damage itself. But none of these ships know that. Now, this Des Moines has basically just killed himself. I was trying to push up and give him a smoke, but he was just not about that life. So I'm going to try and light a fire on this North Carolina while my teammates are providing a line of sight for me. And Syndicated is just on the other side of the island to the south of me. He is watching to make sure that nobody comes up from behind me on this island on B. And that's when that North Carolina gets taken out, which is great. It looked like I was going to get a hit on that first, but unfortunately he turns away and my torpedoes run out of range. So basically sucks to be me. I don't get any torpedo hits, but I am going to light up these battleships. Now, I do not feel safe here. That's why I keep zooming out while I'm firing. I'm looking around. There are two of our friendly destroyers coming into the cap. All of my team from C is pushing over here, which is great. But yeah, I just did not feel safe because I knew there was an enemy destroyer in this cap somewhere with me. And now that I see where he is, I don't feel so bad. My torpedoes are almost up. I am definitely going to fire them at the enemy battleships. I'm going to try and deny as much of this area as I can to them. And I just kind of want to spread them out. Make sure I get a fan of torpedoes out there to deny as much of this area as possible. So I've still got about 20 seconds before this smoke runs out. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get moving though because I don't want to be here when it does dissipate. So we're going to get moving here. It's going to try and bust a U-turn. I didn't want to get spotted, so I was trying to keep this smoke in between me and those enemy battleships. It's going to say staying to myself as long as I'm 6.4 kilometers away. We're going to be good. So I get a hit and flooding on the Montana, which is great. And we get 2 hits and 2 floodings on the battleship that was behind him. So in the 2 spreads, we got 3 hits, which is great. Our battleships are pushing in. As soon as my smoke comes off the cooldown, I'm definitely going to give them smoke. Because honestly, they need it right now. We're down 3 ships to their 1, so the ship advantage is definitely in the enemy team's favor. That's okay because we have B and C. They're going to have to push into us. So that means they're going to have to play aggressively, which is going to give us an opportunity to get in some damage on them with torpedoes and other means that normally would be harder to get. So I'm just trying to dodge some friendlies here. There is a lot of firepower coming in. That Des Moines is back there is using this island to the best of his advantage on the enemy team. I'd like to take him out. The Des Moines is a huge threat to me, but I am going to fire some torpedoes down in that direction, and we're going to call it good. It looks like the Des Moines has decided to use his radar again, which kind of sucks, but luckily for me, I was not in any position, or actually, I'm not sure who that was that used that, because that Des Moines was far too far away from me for his radar to be spotting me, so it must have been somebody else. Not sure who. It's probably one of those battleships with hydroacoustic. So I've still got 1 set of torpedoes left. I am saving it for anything that might come into this cap. I'm going to smoke this Yamato up. He is in sort of an exposed position. I just want to make sure that he doesn't die. I could have gone forward and I might have been able to cover that Tirpitz, but it would have been putting me in a very vulnerable position, especially since I knew all the ships were on the other side of this island. However, I did not know where they were, so yeah, the Tirpitz is done for. And unfortunately for me, it doesn't look like that Yamato actually wants to use my smoke screen. I'm still detected. I'm trying to snug up next to this island so that nobody can actually hit me. And I also don't want to come around this island too soon and let this Kurfürst know exactly where I'm at. I was really hoping, since I got spotted earlier, I was like, well, maybe it was this guy who spotted me with his hydroacoustic. And it's a possibility it was. Now that his hydroacoustic has faded, I'm going to launch some torpedoes at him. I think at this point, this is where he knew he messed up. Because that is a lot of torpedoes. He is trying to turn into him. I'm still going to get, looks like, yep, 5 torpedoes. Hit him. I probably could have killed him had I moved him back a little bit more. Or at least fired him a little less forward, but still do a pretty good job of hitting him. Got him to turn sideways, and that's going to allow Syndicated to actually take this guy out. Get 2 fires on him, so I'm pretty sure he's going to go down. There's no way he's going to survive that. Now, I unfortunately had to get out of that cap circle and abandon Yamato. I can't hang around in there being that close to a German battleship, because while I want to have, you know, I think the tier 4 skill that gives you more HP is survivability expert or something along those lines, but I do not have that perk, so I have to kind of babysit my health. Now the Tashkent is spotted. He is unfortunately 10 kilometers away, and unfortunately they take out our Yamato. Now that we're still at a ship disadvantage, but we do hold 2 cap points versus their 1. They've been able to keep it close because they've been sinking our battleships, but our Yamato did a good job of taking out the enemy's remaining battleships. So now it's just going to be a game to see whose cruisers are better. And currently I want to keep this destroyer out of our cap here, while also trading some damage with him. Now, I'm not used to shooting at a Tashkent too much with his speed boost on in an American destroyer, so those first couple of shots were kind of bad. Sort of got a hang of where to hit him. Now, unfortunately for our Fletcher, he did not position himself away from that Des Moines. And Syndicated is down there dealing with the Minotaur and another ship.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Unfortunately for us, we just have a 1-to-1 trade there. Zhao killed the Minotaur and the Minotaur killed the Zhao, so that really sucked. And I should be zooming out here to take shots of this guy. And unfortunately for me, he sets me on fire. I know the Des Moines radar is going to be, yep, there it is, coming back up here pretty soon. And there it is. I am just going to try and keep this island between me and him and just run away.
Engine boost activated.
And I'm also going to keep an eye, since he's spotted on the torpedo indicator. He is not going to come around that island though. I suppose he knows better. And unfortunately for our Fletcher, he got caught out in the open.
Torpedoes, direct front.
And that Tashkent was a pretty little sneaky guy, trying to hit me with some torpedoes. And all I'm doing here is just defending the cap. Yeah, and the Fletcher gets killed. I couldn't get into cover in time. It's really sucked. It would have really helped us out had that Fletcher lived, but it is what it is. Now, Syndicated is down there dealing with the last cruiser out of those 2 that were down there. and I'm unfortunately going to have to defend our cap for as long as I can. I probably don't have much of a chance. I'm fighting a Tashkent and a Des Moines. It's not the Tashkent that worries me too much. It's really just the Des Moines that's going to be the problem. And I'm actually taking a little bit of damage there. I'm driving in too straight of a line, unfortunately, and that's what's really causing me the problem. So I'm going to try and disappear here. I'm going to pop my smoke, and then I'm going to try and shave off as much speed as possible here, but unfortunately for me, this guy just keeps hitting me. And that's when he disappears. I could have done a better job of shooting this guy, and at this point, I'm just trying to get out of here. I figured he would probably rush into my smoke. And I should be seeing him any second now if that's what he was actually going to do, but it turns out that that's not what he's doing. He's going to turn the torpedo into the smoke. Yeah, and there are the torpedoes.
Engine torpedoes deactivated.
And I'm just going to try and keep this smoke in between me and him because I figure he probably went out towards the 789 line. And that is when a Des Moines pops up directly behind me. And so now I'm spotted. And that Tashkent can take free shots at me while the Des Moines is wailing away on me. And this is probably going to be my end right here, unfortunately. Now, luckily for me, Syndicated is in a position to shoot at this Des Moines. So it's really going to help me out that I'm getting some supporting fire from him. I'm unfortunately not going to make it through this game, and I die right there. Now, Syndicated still has this guy, this last known position, which is great. He can still see him, and he had just enough, just enough turrets to finish him off before he disappears. Which is great. Now, luckily, I don't know what this Tashkent was thinking, but he pops back up, and that's moving on the results here. We did 91,000 damage, 1,600, got 1,600 experience, and got 145,000 credits. Didn't expect this to be a great game for me, especially when I saw how many tier 10s were in it, but we got 2 caps. And then it just became a very defensive game, and that's all I did this match was just defend. But Syndicated really carried that for us. But if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching.